Good afternoon to each and everyone. My name is Ivan D. Eroles and my partner, Noemi Criscel, Group 2, presenting the movie The Odyssey. Before we tackle the movie, I have a question. Uh, what did you feel or realize after watching the movie The Odyssey? So, I'll answer first my own question. After watching the movie, I've been kind of surprised because there are lots of wars, excitement, and learnings that we can get along the story. Problems are always there, but the characters stand firm and get out of those circumstances. A beautiful mindset that we need nowadays. And you, partner?
Well, for me, partner, after I watched the movie The Odyssey, I'm so amazed on how Homer, the writer of the story, reflect the Greek culture way of life. Homer portrays it or the story itself, the Odyssey, as very realistic story. And upon watching it, we have so many lessons that we get from this story, and that's all.
Oh, nice idea. So now, let's take a look on who are the characters in the movie. So, presenting Odysseus. Odysseus is the protagonist of the Odyssey. Odysseus fought among the other Greek heroes at Troy and now struggles to return to his kingdom in Ithaca. Odysseus is the husband of Queen Penelope and the father of Prince Telemachus. Though a strong and courageous warrior, he is most renowned for his cunning. He is a favorite of goddess Athena, who often sends him divine aid, but a bitter enemy of Poseidon, who frustrates his journey at every turn. Next is Telemachus, Odysseus' son, an infant when Odysseus left for Troy. Telemachus is about 20 at the beginning of the story. He is a natural obstacle to the suitors desperately courting his mother. But despite his courage and good heart, he initially lacked the poise and confidence to oppose them. The next character is Penelope, wife of Odysseus and mother of Telemachus. Penelope spends her days in the palace, pining for the husband who left for Troy 20 years earlier and never returned. Homer portrays her as a sometimes flighty and excitable but also clever and steadfastly true to her husband. And Athena, yes, daughter of Zeus and goddess of wisdom, purposeful battle, and the womanly arts. Athena assists Odysseus and Telemachus with divine powers throughout the epic, and she speaks up for them in the councils of the gods on Mount Olympus. Our next character is Calypso. Calypso is the beautiful nymph who falls in love with Odysseus when he lands on her island home of Ogygia. Calypso holds him prisoner there for 7 years until Hermes, the messenger god, persuades her to let him go. And next, Circe, the beautiful witch goddess who transformed Odysseus' crews into swine. When he lands on her island, with Hermes' help, Odysseus resists Circe's powers and then become her lover, living in luxury at her side for a year. Next pa.
The next character is Poseidon. He is the god of the sea, and he despises Odysseus for blighting his son, the Cyclops Polyphemus, and constantly hampers his journey home. And he is also the patron of the seafaring Phaeacians, who ultimately helped to return Odysseus to Ithaca. The next character is Zeus. He is the king of gods and men who meditates the disputes of the gods on the Mount Olympus. And he sometimes helps Odysseus or permits Athena to do the same. Another character po is Eumaeus. He is the loyal shepherd who, along with the cowherd Philotheus, helps Odysseus reclaim his throne after his return to Ithaca. And he is also the one who gives and helps Odysseus to give food and shelter. Next character is Arid. So she is the queen of Phaeacians, wife of Alcinoüs, and mother of Nausicaa. She is very intelligent and influential. Another character is Polyphemus. He is one of the Cyclops, and he is the one who imprisoned Odysseus and his crew and tries to eat them all. But Odysseus blinded him through a clever ruse and managed to escape. And lastly is Euryclea. She is the aged and loyal servant who nursed Odysseus and Telemachus when they were babies. And she is also the one who keeps Odysseus' identity a secret after she recognizes a scar on his leg.
Yes, so after the characters, let's take a look on what are the conflicts that we encounter on the movie. First is man versus nature. Odysseus struggles with nature, especially when the whirlpool swallows his boat, kills his men, and leave him adrift in the sea. Next,
So the second conflict in the story is man versus himself. Odysseus struggles with himself. He convinces his men to tie him to the mast of the ship to hear the siren song.
and next conflict po is man versus society. Odysseus struggles with society. After he returns home, he finds his house overruns with suitors over Penelope. Oh, then next po natin ay theme. Let's take a look on the theme. What are the theme of the movie? First is vengeance.
Okay, so for the first theme, Poseidon and Odysseus are the most noticeable representatives of the theme of vengeance. In order to escape from the cave of the Cyclops Polyphemus, Odysseus blinds the one-eyed giants. Unfortunately, the Cyclops is the sea of God's Poseidon's son. Odysseus has engaged a formidable enemy. Poseidon can kill Odysseus because the fates have determined that he will make it home. However, the sea god can help to fulfill his son's wish that Odysseus should arrive in Ithaca late, broken and alone, his shipmates lost, and his household in turmoil. In one of the most controversial sections of the epic, Poseidon takes his frustration out on the Phaeacians, whose only offense is following the tradition of hospitality by sailing in Odysseus' home. And the next is loyalty and perseverance. This is another personal virtue that is a major theme in the epic is loyalty. The most striking example of loyalty in the epic is, of course, Penelope, who waits faithfully for 20 years for her husband's return. Another example is Telemachus, who stands by his father against the suitors. Odysseus' old nurse, Euryclea, remains loyal to Penelope and her absent master. Eumaeus, the wineherd, and Philotheus, the cowherd, are excellent exemplary in their loyalty to their master and his possessions. Also, an excellent if humble host, Eumaeus makes his king proud as he speaks respectfully of the royal family and abhors the invasion of the suitors.
And last theme is the hospitality. So in hospitality, arriving strangers may be dangerous or harmless. The residents are wise to be prepared for trouble. Often, however, strangers are but wayfarers, probably in need of at least some kind of help. Similarly, the residents themselves, of their friend or kin, may at sometimes be wayfarers. Civilized people, therefore, make an investment in hospitality to demonstrate their quality as a human being and in hopes that their own people will be treated well when they travel. Furthermore, communications are very primitive in Homer's world or in the movie, and strangers bring and receive news. It was through visitors that the Homeric Greeks learned about and kept abreast of what was happening in the world beyond their local areas. Next po natin is a question. How do you perceive the relationship between the gods and humans in the work? So, upon watching the movie, The Odyssey, I've been kinda amazed. I've been kinda amazed on how they communicate to their gods. If people or Odysseus can directly speak on gods like Athena, they can easily ask their gods what are the safest thing to do. Their gods are the spiritual guides of their lives. And their gods has different ways to lead them the way or to help them. Sometimes they are evolving to a human being to easily speak and help them. The love of their gods is easily felt by the audiences because they have a big role on leading the humans. On the other hand, there is a scene that the relationship of humans and gods are complicated, especially when Poseidon and Odysseus have their dispute feelings on each other. In fact, Poseidon challenges Odysseus on their way home. He gave them a lot of circumstances that makes the way harder.
In addition, about the I perceive the relationship between the gods and humans in the work. The relationship between gods and humans in the work is a complex relationship. Gods can drive human actions, but humans have free will and are responsible for their choices. This was discussed by Zeus himself during the assembly of the gods, as retold in the Odyssey. Gods reward and help mortals who honor them. This was proved when Athena and Leucothea helped Odysseus to get back to his home at Ithaca. But gods also punish mortals who offended them. In the story, Odysseus blinded Poseidon's sons, Polyphemus, and thus had to endure his fury. Poseidon directly impedes with his life and creates trials and battles Odysseus goes through.
Okay po?
Okay na po, partner.
Then the next is, oh, what aspects of the Greek culture are reflected in the work? So first, we have the religious aspect. The religious beliefs and aspects of the ancient Greek culture are very defined and strict. The Greeks believed that the world was watched over by Zeus and other Olympian gods, and that these gods decided their future. They also believed that the gods' wills could be turned with sacrifices. In the movie The Odyssey, it reflected a lot in religious belief aspect. It shows us Odysseus, Telemachus, and many other characters made so much and many sacrifices to the gods. These characters also pray to the gods so that the gods can hear them and fulfill their wishes. Next po is mental
The, sec-
characteristics.
the second one is mental characteristic. This is one of the most prominent of the mental characteristic. The ancient Greeks valued was the cleverness and the wit of an individual. In the Odyssey, many instances and events, Odysseus uses his brain wit and other tricks to get himself out of a risky situation. Examples of this are when he tells Polyphemus, the Cyclops, that his name is nobody, when he overcomes Circe's magic with the help of Molly, when he fills his man's ear with wax, and ties himself to a post. And when he disguises himself as a beggar and reveals his true identity to few. Other significant mental characteristics that the Greeks valued are faithfulness and loyalty. There are many examples of loyalty and faithfulness in the Odyssey. The four most significant examples are Penelope, Eumaeus, Philitoes, and Araos.
Okay po. And next, uh, treatment of a guest. Treatment of a guest. The treatment of a guest was very important in the times of the ancient Greeks. It defined your social class, and it also helped you in favor with Zeus, who is the god of travelers and guests. A wide range of things can be classified as hospitality. Examples of good hospitality are abundant throughout the Odyssey, such as when Aiden goes to Telemachus in Ithaca, when Telemachus goes to Nestor, when Telemachus goes to Menalios, when Odysseus goes to Phaeacians, and when Odysseus goes to Eumaeus. Presents at arrival are expected, but presents at departures are now always present. However, in case of wealthy, generous, or friendly host, presents, even those with incalculable and immense values, can be exchanged. And our last po is
Greeks' view on life. The Greeks believed that in the end of any hardship or endurance, justice would emerge and show its victorious smile to the victim. The Greeks also believed that in the battle between the good and evil, good will triumph in the end. The view that good triumphs versus evil can be seen in the epic when Odysseus kills all of the suitors against virtually impossible odds. The view that justice will emerge in the end is shown in the Odyssey when all unfaithful servants and maids are killed.
and okay na po.
Okay na po, partner.
So, thank you po for listening. Again, I am Ivan D. Roles,
And I am Noemi Crisel Grania.
Group 2. Thank you po.
Thank you po.